Hello Libra, welcome to Unseen Hands Healing. I'm Amanda and this is going to be your reading for mid-August. So I decided to do a spread that I post about over on Instagram. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, find me at Unseen Hands Healing. I posted this spread about the shift that is happening right now collectively so that we can explore that shift for each of us individually as well. And so we're going to use that spread today for your mid-August reading because there's so much happening in the month of August. You may be able to feel that momentum picking up and things starting to move, whereas June and July were just frozen and feeling like sort of trudging through thick fog or retracing and trudging through again. It was just very surreal, the limbo that we have been in. And that, of course, affects us all in different ways, to different degrees. But as we move into August, there's a lot of forward momentum happening in the sky. We've got Mercury stationing direct and going completely out of its retrograde shadow phase and moving into Leo, which is going to be a pretty big shift for all of us. And that happens on the 11th of August. And then that same day, Jupiter stations direct out of its retrograde that it's been in since April. So that's going to be a big forward turning of the wheel, since Jupiter is that Wheel of Fortune energy. Uranus also goes retrograde that same day. So the 11th is all packed with a lot of activity. And then by the time this reading is posted for you, we're looking forward to the Aquarius full moon, which is going to be a big culmination. All right, so as we are working towards that, there's a big shift happening for us collectively, and that impacts all of our lives differently. So for you, Libra, we're going to look at the shape that you are shifting out of, the shape that you are shifting into, and what that shift looks like for you or what it feels like. So before I get started with this, as I was meditating on your energy before I pulled cards, and I just invited any images or messages that needed to come through for you. And I felt like I was sitting on a rock on a beach. And the waves were sort of, at first, just gently, rhythmically lapping against the rock. And then they started to sort of splash and surge in this arc. And then as they picked up momentum, the arc started turning back on itself and it started circling. And all of a sudden it was just this like continuous circle of water, almost like a wave in reverse. And as it was circling, I realized that out of the center of that circle was forming this pearl. And it was almost like the water was shaping the pearl and then sort of like holding it out to you like this. And just as I looked into the pearl to see what I might see there, it was like like back into the earth 3D reality. Very, very interesting way to start this reading, and quite a beautiful image. It feels to me, just to speak preliminarily on it, we'll get into the spread here and see if anything else comes out, but it feels like whatever cycles that you have been going through emotionally, because we have the water here, whatever emotional cycles you have watched yourself go through, it's like a moment of reflecting back on those cycles and watching the build of that emotional cycle until it finally crests over and just becomes this constant tumbling cycle. And then you're realizing that out of that is forming this pearl. And it felt almost like Ace of Pentacles. It felt like this, or Ace of Cups even, this like beautiful golden opportunity. This pearl that has come from the bottom of the sea, from the bottom of your seas, your emotional seas. So I think that's a really beautiful image that we're working with here. And then, as I'm pulling cards for this, two cards came out that reflect that image that I got. And we'll get into these energies a little deeper, but this is the Nine of Cups and the Queen of Pentacles. Notice that pentacle that she's holding out like this, and notice all the pearls all over the card of the Nine of Cups. Okay, so, whoa. Right off the bat, Libra, we got some interesting synchronicities to work with. So the first card I want to talk about is this Four of Coins. This is the energy, the shape that you are shifting out of. And what I felt with this card is a very sort of traditional interpretation of this card, which is one of holding on. There's a holding on happening in the Four. This is like a clinging to a certain type of structure, a clinging to a certain way of being. This person, it's like these pentacles have formed the foundation of who they are. And so there's a real reluctance to release, to open, especially this one over the heart, to open the hands and let that go. There's a real reluctance, but there's this sort of feeling that we got rocks falling, which is interesting because what I was just about to say is all of the structures that you've built up until this point have fallen away as the rocks like fall. All of the structures that you have built up until this point are falling away, and you're left with nothing but what you can hold on to, and you're clinging to it really, really tight as everything around you becomes nothing but scaffolding, nothing but bare bones. I feel a lot of fear. I feel a lot of fear of wanting to hold on to that structure, wanting to hold on to that scaffolding for dear life. Fix my rocks. Okay. Really wanting to cling to that. And it's sort of like, it's almost like, this is a very sad image, but sort of the image of like the captain of the Titanic refusing to exit the ship as it's going down. And the captain of the Titanic is just like, no, I am going down with this ship. That's what it feels like. I'm going down with this ship. You know, this is my bed and I'm gonna lie in it. Everything's changing around me. The ship is literally sinking. Everything is shifting, but I'm going down with it. And it feels to me like she's the only one left. It's almost like also the image of a house being cleared out because things are shifting and moving. And the only person left is this person just like holding on to the clothes on their back and the bag that they've got, and maybe like, you know, like a snack or something, and they're just like sitting in this empty house, just holding it down, not wanting to move on, not wanting to release and let go. That's what I'm feeling, the energy I'm feeling from that. And then the shape that you're shifting, so you're shifting out of that energy, which feels like probably a good thing, a worthwhile thing. The energy that you're shifting into here is the Five of Wands. So this is very typically a card of being in process with something. But the images, all your stuff is just blowing. It's like all your structures are blowing away. Your structures are blowing down here. The image that I'm being drawn to with this Five of Wands is there's a feeling of moving up. Because this is, you know, a diffuser, essentially. It's like essential oils diffusing up. but the oils are dark. It's dark. This is a really intense card. There's intense energy here. A lot of fire, ruby, dragon energy. You can see the dragon. There is energy here still of that dragon holding on, not wanting to release. But it's like something's releasing anyway, because that's the structure of this container. So even though that dragon is wrapped around and holding on tight, the structure of this container is such that the sticks that are in this liquid are going to diffuse it out into the air. Up, out into the air. That's what this feels like. It feels very spiritual. We also have this wrapped, mummified hand here at the bottom, which feels like the death card coming in and just making an appearance in this card. Death meaning transformation. There is massive transformation energy here with this Five of Wands coming through for you, and it really is like something is transmuting from liquid to air. It's like almost like a decomposition type transformation, because something that is liquid is diffusing into ether. There's a big transition here from form into something greater. And fives are cards of change. It's cards of very much being in transition, being in the process, and it's messy. It's not clean. There's a lot going on in this card. There's like the power of this red ruby in the background, which I'm really drawn to, but I'm not really sure why. It could just be like that root / solar plexus energy. Could just be that fire energy that we're in with Leo season. There's something about the redness that's so intense for me. Could be root chakra, could be solar plexus. So we're dealing with like where the sense of rootedness of where you come from, and then with the solar plexus chakra, more like a sense of identity and who you are. These are the things, where you come from and who you are, who you identify as, are starting to shift form into something I think more spirit-led, because we are dealing with wands here as well, which is very much spirit energy, spiritual energy, creative energy for sure. But I'm really feeling the spirit here for you, because I'm just feeling this transition into ether. And it's right, and that makes sense because it's right next to the air card, being the last part of this shift before you get into this shape that you're shifting into. So we'll look at that. But so that's the shape you're shifting out of, and the shape you're shifting into. I think it goes more like that. The shape you're shifting out of and the shape you're shifting into. Drastically different, yes? Pentacles to wands, earth to spirit. So for some of you, it could mean sort of like letting go of everything that you have known here, every structure, every tangible structure that you have known, in favor of a process that transitions you into something more unknown territory, more spiritual territory here. And then we have the way that shift feels and looks like for you. We start off with the Nine of Cups and the Queen of Coins. The Queen of Coins is facing the Nine of Cups, which feels significant to me. You know, Nine of Cups is like going towards your wishes, dreams, hopes, desires. You can see in this card there's great wealth and abundance. All the food you could ever want. It's decadent. This person is flushed with passion and desire and fulfillment. And they are holding this pearl. And we do have the statue of an angel here as well. There's just so much ascension energy here from this like earth plane. And you could almost see this person levitating, floating in space on nothing but, you know, as you release all of the things, all of the structures that you have come to rely on, it's like all you have left. You know, you can also read these coins as the energy centers, you know, crown chakra, heart chakra, base chakra. It's like all you have left is your own energy here to carry with you. And it looks like where you're going, you know, carrying with you, okay? Where are you going? It's like you're going out in search of a place for your desires. The Queen of Coins in these readings has been coming out as someone searching for home, searching for a place to put this pentacle, to put this seed, to put this opportunity, because the Queen of Pentacles wants to grow something. And this is a very internal process because we're dealing with Queen energy. So it's like the search for internal belonging. And the Nine of Cups being, you know, the search for everything that you desire, for fulfillment of your desires, embodied here in this pearl. And that pearl that came out in your reading, it's like you've been through this emotional, cyclical cycle process that has shown you what you want out of life. You know, shown you the pearl of wisdom, the pearl, you know, I'm hearing that phrase, don't cast your pearls before swine. Your pearls, and you could almost see these pentacles, these coins, as pearls as well. Your pearls being your treasure, being the things that you treasure. And here you are holding on to your treasure. And then now it's like you're realizing what your treasure really is and the fulfillment of your desires. And you're going out with your desire, that pearl leading the way, what you truly treasure leading the way forward towards your desires here. And it feels like that process really involves, there's just this like, there's this upward movement that feels like, I mean, it really feels like this person is rising. It feels like this person is levitating up, and I felt that same rising energy here with the Five of Wands. It's like, and then we have the Air card coming out next. There is a search for a place to plant your pearls, where your pearls of desire and wisdom and treasure, the treasure of your heart, can be nourished and nurtured. And it's like, it's not here. That's why the structures are falling out all around you, because it's not here. It's time for you to levitate. It's time for you to rise up into the air. This feels like a really spiritual quest for some folks. Deeply, deeply spiritual quest. So Libra, I'm going to take some cards here from this beautiful postcards from the Liminal Space deck, because, you know, this transition is very much a liminal space that you're in. Very, very liminal. You're looking at what you need to let go of. You're looking at what you want. What is that pearl? What have these experiences brought you to? And now how can you get some air? How can you get some clarity for your spirit to know where to go next? A search for home, a search for what you really desire, a search for fulfillment. So this is a very transitional shift. And so while you're in this liminal space, I want to get a card to help you out with that. Now, I am going to take this into an extended reading and get some clarity on this because it's pretty big. It feels like a very meta reading. It feels very larger than this 3D world in a lot of ways. And so I'm going to use the Aquarian Tarot and get some clarity on all of this in the extended reading. I'm also going to take some more cards here from the Spolia deck because, you know, shifts are never point A to point B and then you're done. It's like even when you shift out of this shape and into this shape, then the shifting continues and there will be another shape that you're shifting into, and then another and another. So I'm going to pull some more cards to see how the Five of Wands then becomes the transition into the next shape. All right, so if you're interested in that, if this is resonating with you so far and you'd like to see that extended video, the link is down below to see your options for viewing that on Patreon and on Instagram as well. Okay, so let's get a liminal space, regardless whether you're going to follow into the extended or not. Let's get a liminal space postcard for Libra, please, for the month of August. The remainder of August 2019 as Libra makes this shift. Wow. A vision. It's a very, very powerful card, Libra. I'm just going to finish the shuffle and see if anything else comes out. Okay. A vision followed by what a time to be alive. I'm going to read those to you because I really like the words that the creators of this deck, and I will link to that in the description box. I like the words that they use to describe these energies. This is for a vision. Deep in your subconscious, deep in a desert, under a brilliant starlit sky and glowing full moon, you awaken inside of a tent. You walk out into the night, following distant sounds of thunder. You see a bonfire, and beside it an enormous obsidian black scorpion cut open and gushing gold, molten blood. You fall to your knees and bathe your hands in it. You look at your hands. Prophecy will come obscured in symbol when its meaning is beyond verbal language. The message is received, whatever it is. Wow. Incredibly potent. So what's interesting about this to me, you know, we have the Scorpion here, which feels so much like transformation, right? That Scorpio energy, Pluto energy of deep transformation. And we've got Pluto, the South Node, and Saturn all working together in Capricorn right now to help this transmutation process. We are transmuting the old forms of the past and learning those lessons, closing out those cycles, and truly moving on to a new beginning. And so I see that here present in this vision card for you, Libra. A vision. It's also interesting that in this vision that I had before your reading started, this meditation that came through was like, you know, this notion of prophecy will come obscured in symbol when its meaning is beyond verbal language. The message is received, whatever it is. That really feels like that pearl, you know? this deep subconscious dive that is the waves churning, the waves of your unconscious, the waves of your subconscious churning and forming this pearl that is then handed to you. You know, it's almost like, and I was asked to look into the pearl. I actually heard the word scry, for those of you that practice that craft. And so it's like, I heard that I was to scry. I was to look into the pearl to see a vision. And so when I went to look, it's like I was taken out. I was put back here. So prophecy can come obscured in that symbol. I think the pearl is a really potent symbol for you, at least that came out in this reading. And I'm sure this card is a call to pay attention to your dreams. Pay attention to the visualizations that come to you if you are someone that meditates or dives into your dreams. And if you're not, maybe you ought to really start paying attention to what your subconscious is trying to say to you through the language of symbols. And if that's not a language that comes easily to you, I can help you out with that. All right, so check out my website, unseenhandshealing.com, for more info on that offering. So I also want to read here, What a Time to Be Alive. I love this card. What a time to be alive. This moment is like a secret the universe is sharing only with you. No one has had to walk through this life as you. No one has been through what you've been through. And you've made it through all of it. Look how far you have come. Take a deep breath. I like this too, Libra, because it really does feel like you're rising. You are ascending into some sort of new horizon. And then in this beautiful card, we see this new horizon. There's something new on the horizon for you. And your spirit really is transcending to meet that. It's beautiful. So for those of you where we part ways here, thank you so much for joining me. Please do click that like button so we can ride the YouTube algorithm, get this message out to those who need it, and subscribe to my channel so we can stay connected as momentum really starts to pick up moving into September. And for those of you that this is really resonating and you want to dig deeper, follow the link below to check out the extended reading. Thanks, Libra, for joining me, and take care.